Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. In this two-part video we will discuss one fun fact about every country in the world. And to make things a little more interesting, the countries will be arranged from the smallest to the biggest using the land area that they occupy. So without further ado, let's start with the smallest country in the world named Holy See, or better known as Vatican. This is the smallest independent country in the world and it uses the euro as its currency even though it's not part of the Eurozone or European Union. And like other countries, it mints its own euro coins and issues its own stamps. Monaco. Every day during the day, the number of people staying in Monaco doubles as the residents of France and Italy arrive for work. This makes the population of about 40,000 instantly grow to 90,000. Nauru is the smallest island nation, and that being said, there isn't too much room for anything. Nauru has no protected areas, no World Heritage sites, no rivers, and just about 40 kilometers of road. The next country on our list is Tuvalu. But before we start, if you like this kind of videos, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Tuvalu is a collection of islands halfway between Hawaii and Australia, and the largest source of income is derived from its country code domain, .tv. The country has had several agreements in place since the late 1990s with companies that sell web addresses using the .tv suffix. San Marino. The nation is landlocked by Italy and there are no borders checks entering or leaving San Marino. But for about €5 you can purchase a San Marino passport stamp in the tourist office during your visit. Liechtenstein. The country is not only landlocked but double landlocked. Both of the countries that border Liechtenstein, Austria and Switzerland, are themselves landlocked. The only other country in this category is Uzbekistan. Marshall Islands. In 2011, this Pacific Ocean nation, comprised of dozens of islands and atolls, created the largest shark sanctuary in the world. By adding the Marshall Islands, they nearly doubled the amount of protected ocean for the marine mammals. St. Kitts and Nevis. The English began to settle the island in 1623, and St. Kitts was the first English colony in the Caribbean. Over the next several years, the English and the French would fight over the island. Eventually, the English took full control. Maldives. In 2009, the government of this island held the world's first and only underwater cabinet meeting. They did this in order to highlight the impending doom of climate change. This meeting succeeded in attracting media attention and was made known all over the world. Malta and its capital Valletta was the first ever planned city of Europe. During the Order of St. John of Jerusalem, the city was sketched out in 1565. Grenada. The island has only 3 traffic lights. Yes, just 3. No more, no less. St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The country is home to the oldest botanical gardens in the Western Hemisphere, which were formed back in 1765 and have been conserving rare species of plants since that early time. Barbados. Mongooses are a familiar sight on this Caribbean island. They were first brought from India in the 1870s in order to reduce the rat population, but that effort failed. Now they are part of the island. Antigua and Barbuda. Cricket is incredibly popular among the residents of these islands, a legacy from the British colonial rule. Although the nation's population is low, it has produced several of the greatest cricket players of all time, including Viv Richards, Richie Richardson and Andy Roberts. Palau. The world's first shark sanctuary was set up in Palau in 2009. All commercial shark fishing activities were banned in Palau, and now there are more than over 130 different species within its waters. Seychelles. French pirate Olivier Levasseur is rumored to have buried tens of millions of dollars worth of treasure on Mahe, one of the islands that make up this country. and since 1950 there is a father and a son who have been trying to find this loot. Andorra is a small nation located between France and Spain and has never engaged in battle in its 1000-year history. However, during the World War I, it was one of the first countries to declare war with Germany despite the fact that it had no military. And since its demands were ignored at the end of the war, it remained at war with Germany until the outbreak of World War II in 1949. Saint Lucia. This island nation is the only country in the world that's named after a woman. In this case, Saint Lucy of Syracuse. French settlers were the first Europeans to arrive on this island and gave it that name. Micronesia is a diverse paradise with wrecks for all levels and at all depths, including some that can be snorkeled. There are over 50 shipwrecks that sank in Chuuk Lagoon after Operation Hailstone in World War II destroyed the Japanese base. Singapore. In addition to its main island, the nation of Singapore includes 63 additional islands, most of which are uninhabited, and one of the nature reserves in its country holds more species of trees than the entire North American continent. Tonga has a disappearing island. Between 1782 and 1927, the island of Funaafu, which means New Island, appeared and disappeared into the ocean several times. At this moment, the island is in its hidden phase. Dominica has the world's second largest natural hot spring. Called Boiling Lake, it is formed in the 200-foot wide body of water from one of the volcanoes that shoots hot sulfuric gas. Bahrain was originally made up of 43 islands, but intensive land reclamation has increased this figure to 84 islands. Land reclamation also increased the country's land area by 48 square miles. Kiribati, due to its placement in the Central Pacific Ocean and the fact that the island covers an area of 1.3 million square miles, Kiribati has the special distinction of being the only country in the world that's located in all four hemispheres. São Tomé and Príncipe. Relationships are a bit different than in other places in the world. Traditional Christian marriage is largely reserved for the upper class, and it's acceptable for men to maintain several households. Comoros is one of the world's most politically unstable countries. Since 1975, there has been a coup d'etat or an attempt almost every 2 years. Mauritius is the only known habitat of the dodo bird. Although the cause of its demise is debatable, many scientists believe that the extinction was human-induced. Luxembourg has a dancing ceremony that involves some 10,000 people simultaneously hopping. In 2010, the dance was included on UNESCO's Cultural Heritage of Humanity list. Samoa. Over 99% of the population over the age of 15 can read and write. However, many people are without work. About 1/3 of all Samoans between the ages of 15 and 24 years are unemployed. Capo Verde. Due to repeated droughts in the 20th century, many residents left this island nation for better opportunities. Because of this widespread emigration, the expat population is now greater than the domestic one. Trinidad and Tobago. The limbo dance originated in the 1950s on this twin island nation just north of Venezuela. It was originally performed at funerals and it meant to reflect the cycle of life. Brunei. Although only a small country, Brunei has managed to conserve almost 70% of its rainforest despite the pressure of development. These rainforests are home to some of the most threatened species of flora and fauna. Palestine. The sovereign state located between Jordan and Israel contains a small city called Bethlehem that, in addition to being the birthplace of Jesus Christ, celebrates Christmas 3 times. On January the 7th for the Greek Orthodox, on 18th of January for the Armenians, and on 25th of December for the Catholics. Cyprus. Many of us know the Greek goddess of love, Aphrodite, but what many of us don't know is that the legend says she was born on a beach from this island. Bahamas. This chain of hundreds of islands that make up the Bahamas are situated just north of the Caribbean Sea and east of Florida, and although this country is located along the Tropic of Cancer, it has snowed once in recorded history. 1977 was the year that snow fell on Grand Bahamas Island on January 19. Gambia is the smallest country on the continent of Africa. The country is about 60 kilometers wide and the length is roughly 182 kilometers. Lebanon. It's believed that Jesus Christ's famous miracle of turning water into wine took place in Cana, a village in the southern part of this small Middle East country. Jamaica is a Caribbean island nation that has no snow or winter-like conditions at any time of the year. But it does have what's arguably the world's most famous bobsled team. It first competed in the Olympics in 1988. Qatar. The Arabian oryx is Qatar's national animal, which was saved from extinction back in the 1970s by zoos and reserves. You might have spotted this magnificent animal on the Qatar Airways logo or as a mascot in 2006 Asian Games held in Doha. Vanuatu is the world's most dangerous country when it comes to natural disasters based on the chances of experiencing earthquakes, storms, floods, droughts and sea level rises. With 46.43%, this country came ahead of Tonga, the Philippines, Guatemala and Bangladesh. Montenegro. This former member of Yugoslavia is home to what's considered one of, if not the, world's oldest olive tree, Stara Maslina. It's more than 2000 years old and lives among several other olive trees that are 500 to 700 years old. Timor-Leste. After Portugal withdrew from this island nation in 1975 after centuries of occupation, Indonesia invaded and held the country until 1999. In 2002, East Timor became the first new country of the 21st century. Eswatini, formerly known as Swaziland, is home to the Sibebe rock that is the world's second largest monolith, or a single piece of rock. The largest monolith is located in Australia and is called Uluru. Kuwait is building the world's tallest skyscraper. The proposed 1001 meters Burj Mubarak Al Kabir is expected to be completed in 2040. Fiji. The ancient tradition of firewalking started on this island. It's even believed that the descendants of the first man can still walk on white-hot stones. Slovenia. Bees are a huge deal in this former Yugoslavian republic. Of the 2 million residents of Slovenia, some 90,000 are beekeepers. That's 1 out of every 20 people. El Salvador is the only country in Central America that doesn't have a coastline on the Caribbean Sea. Israel is the only country in the world that has more trees today than it had 50 years ago. Belize. Gibnut is a rat-like creature that is considered a culinary delicacy in this nation. It is so revered in these parts that it was served to Queen Elizabeth II in 1985 during a royal visit. Djibouti. This small country once had a national soccer team, but it was dissolved in 2017 because of continued poor results. It had never qualified for any major international tournament. Rwanda. In an effort to improve hygiene, this African nation has banned things like wearing sandals or going barefoot in public. Also, people aren't allowed to share straws. North Macedonia. One of the biggest touristic attractions is the town Ohrid and its gorgeous lake. What makes this town so special is the fact that Ohrid Lake is the oldest and one of the deepest lakes in Europe. Burundi. In Burundi, 90% of the population depends on jobs in agriculture in order to make a living. The primary agriculture export is Arabica coffee. Albania has half of the citizens living outside the country. Statistics say that in 2018, from about 3 million, there were 1.4 million Albanians living abroad, about half as many as those living in the country. Haiti. The Haitian Revolution, which lasted from 1791 to 1804, ultimately led to the creation of this Caribbean nation. This made it the first country to be founded by former slaves. Solomon Islands. In 2017, a species of giant rat capable of opening coconuts with its teeth was discovered in the Solomon Islands. For decades, no one could prove the creature existed. Then, in 2015, one fell down from a tree as it was cut down. The rat can grow up to 45 centimeters long and weigh 0.5 kilograms. Equatorial Guinea was occupied twice by Spain and now is the only country on the African continent with Spanish as its official language. Guinea-Bissau. It has been declared by the United Nations as the first narcotic state in Africa. It has become a transit point for cocaine from Colombia to Europe and heroin from Southeast Asia to the United States. Armenia. The game of chess is huge in this former Soviet Republic. Armenia is the only country in the world that requires students to take chess lessons in school, and it's paid off. The country often wins international competitions and has a high number of grandmasters per capita. Belgium. Chocolate is a huge business here. Belgium can produce some 600,000 tons per year across its more than 2,000 companies. More chocolate is sold at the Brussels airport than anywhere else in Belgium. Lesotho. This African nation has the special distinction of being the highest lowest point in the world. It's the only country that's located entirely about 1,000 meters. Moldova has the world's largest wine cellar. The Milești Mici wine cellar contains nearly 2 million bottles and a tunnel system that stretches for about 120 kilometers. Cars and bikes are needed to traverse it, and the same road rules apply underground as above ground. Netherlands. The Dutch are the tallest people in the world. Men average just over 1.83 meters, while women average about 1.68 meters. Bhutan. Tourists that want to visit this Himalayan hideaway have to pay a minimum of $200 per day. While that sounds excessive, it's basically all-inclusive, including food, transportation, accommodation, daily guide, and the local taxes. Switzerland. Everyone associates this European nation with chocolate, and for good reason. Much of the chocolate as we know it today was created in Switzerland, including milk chocolate, chocolate with hazelnuts, and melting chocolate. Estonia. Also a former republic of the Soviet Union, it is considered the most digitally advanced government in the world. They were the first to offer online voting for the citizens all the way back in 2005. And not only this, but Estonia also concludes our episode for today. I hope that you all enjoyed it. Hope to see you next time, and please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave your comments down below.